Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. Today I'm making this what I've called a Waterlily gift box, and I've given it that name because that's what it reminded me of for some reason. This was inspired by some eco-friendly packaging which I saw on Pinterest. This one is made out of a sheet of 12 by 12 and this is approximately 5.5 inches at the widest point at the bottom. I did make a prototype to start with to see how it came together from a sheet of 8 by 8 paper, and this is approximately 3.5 inches across. As you can see, there is a lot of scoring, folding, and burnishing involved, but having said that, the project does come together relatively quickly. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm starting with a sheet of 12 by 12 patterned paper, and it is 180 GSM. You can make this in a heavier weight. Obviously, just bear in mind as we see the project, the folds, the scoring, etc. So go up to a cardstock of maybe 220, maybe 230, but I certainly wouldn't want to go above that. You can make this project with any size square. The process is going to be exactly the same. Obviously, what that's going to do is change up the base element that you have to put your gift in, and you would have seen that from the finished project which I showed at the beginning of the video. So regardless of the size of paper or cardstock that you're going to be using, you want to start by making a pencil mark halfway across on all four sides. So in this instance it will be 6 inches. If you were using 8-inch cardstock it would be 4 inches. So we'll do that on all four sides. We're now going to put our additional scoring in. So we have our marked pencil lines on all four sides, and we want to turn the paper to the diagonal. The first thing we're going to do is score from the top corner point down to the pencil line here in the bottom right hand side. So I'm going to line my ruler up with the top corner and score diagonally down. So I'm just going to lift this up so you can see it. So here's my pencil line here. My score line runs from the top corner all the way down to the pencil line. So we're going to work on the same top corner, and we're going to now put it in the pencil line which is in the bottom left hand side here. So we're going to do that. Again, line my ruler up at the top of the cardstock or the paper, line the bottom of the ruler up with the pencil line and score. So I've lift this one up. You can now see I've got a score line here which is running down to the pencil line which is halfway across this side. We're then going to rotate the piece and we're going to do exactly the same. So we will follow that process on all four corners, running from the top of the corner down to the pencil mark which will be on the bottom left hand side, or the pencil mark which will be on the bottom right hand side, and we'll do that on all four corners. So your piece will look something like this. If you can see the score lines, we've got this 4 large point star in each corners and then smaller sections which run to the pencil line which we made in the middle, and we've got an octagon shape scored in the middle. The next thing you want to do is have your piece in the orientation so that your pencil mark is in front of you, and you're going to work on the paper in its square format, and you're going to score from the pencil mark down to where the score lines intersect. So if I put this score line in, that will show you. Make sure my ruler is lined up. So I have a new score line which runs from the pencil mark down to this cross here where the score lines intersect. Rotate the paper and repeat that on all 4 sections around the side. I'm going to get rid of the pencil marks at this stage. We don't need those in there now. And we're going to fold and burnish along all of the score lines. So once you've got all your main score lines burnished, you also want to burnish the score lines that we've just added through the sections at the end. And you want to, if this is going to be the inside of my piece, you want to burnish those as if they're a mounting fold towards the inside. So we're now going to do some cutting on our piece, and I'm going to work on the reverse, and we want to cut a 3/4 of an inch border away from the score line, and I'm going to mark all the way around with pencil so that I know that I've got it accurate. What I've done, rather than getting my ruler out, I've cut myself a 3/4 inch strip of scrap cardstock, and I'm going to use that to mark all the lines that I'm going to need to cut. So I'm just going to line my strip up with the score line and mark. Line it up with this one, because I can rub these out obviously when we've finished. So I'm going to cut down this pencil line and along here. So it will be the same as this section. If you're happy to just go in and cut, then that's perfectly okay. You do whatever you think you're going to find it easiest. I'm using 3/4 of an inch because I did try it with a 1/2 inch border, and to be honest, I wasn't happy with the way the project sat. So I'm going to move that round to the left hand side and do exactly the same in this section here. So I'm going to line my strip up with the score line, mark that with a pencil, and then do the same along this edge here and cut that section away. Get rid of the pencil line, and I'm going to continue that on the remaining sides. So the next thing we want to do is bring back in our ruler and stylus, and we're going to add a score line in between the V of the cut down to the intersecting point. So if I put this one in, and then I will just lift it up to show you. So that's the additional score line we're putting in, and then we're going to fold that in towards the middle, like so. So you can probably just pinch, and we're going to do that all the way around. So the final thing we want to do is add in our holes for our ribbon. I'm going to use a stationer's hole punch just because that's going to give me the punch size that I need for my ribbon that I'm using. And I'm going to put the hole level with this piece here where this edge comes down, and put it in roughly halfway across. And I'm going to do that on all of the 4 larger triangles. That's my holes in, and now we can start to bring the piece together. So if you have the 2 bottom, you can see how this starts to lift up, and we want to collapse this V section here on each other onto itself. And I'm just going to work my way around. The small sections will come up towards the middle. So if you push these sections together all the way around, you will see how the piece starts to take shape. So if you've scored and burnished, it will sort of take care of itself in terms of coming together. So you can see how that comes together in the middle. So maybe that sort of explains why I thought Waterlily, I don't know. I did ask my husband and he did agree, so I wasn't completely off script. So we can now start to thread our ribbon through. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut yourself a circle of some sturdier cardstock and secure that into the bottom. So depending on what you're going to be putting in it, if you need something with a heavier base, but the sides aren't as important, just cut yourself a piece of cardstock or grey board or packaging and secure that into that centre section. So my piece is all now joined together. But there we have our gift pouch. Obviously you can see inside, so this is the sort of project where if you were going to gift something that might be inside some tissue paper, for instance a scarf or something, I just think it's a really nice alternative way of gifting something and it not being in a box or a bag. And of course you could, if you wanted, add any extra embellishments or decorations to the outside sections. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.